YB do slap some of them. But it's the simple fact that he the boss. It was like, nigga, can I touch him? Like, don't matter if you won't touch him. I ain't gonna let you touch him. Nobody around gonna let none of the real members gonna let you even touch him. So it's like they go get their ass slapped or whatever will happen. Ain't nobody gonna touch him.
NBA YoungBoy got caught slapping his own homies on camera. And it ain't just rumors. DJ Academics himself pulled up to YB's house and confirmed that he saw YoungBoy yelling, putting hands on his crew, and nobody dared to fight back. Because when YoungBoy takes care of your whole family, you don't bite the hand that feeds, the daddy of his crew, provider and power. When you step into NBA YoungBoy's world, the first thing you notice is how much control he has over everybody around him. It's not just about music or fame, it's about survival. Every single one of his homies eats because of him. He's the provider, the one making sure bills are paid, moms are looked after, and nobody in the crew is struggling. On the surface, that looks like loyalty, but when you dig deeper, it's really about power. Because if your whole life depends on one man, you're not going to move against him even when he crosses the line. That's exactly why the situation that DJ Academics described shocked fans but didn't surprise the people closest to YB. AK is one of the only media guys YoungBoy actually trusts enough to pull up to his house. And when he told the story, he confirmed what people had been whispering about for years. YoungBoy really does snap on his own crew. AK said he personally watched YB yelling at his homies, putting hands on them, and treating them like kids being disciplined by a strict parent. The craziest part? Nobody fought back. They just stood there and took it. And that's the dark side of YoungBoy being the provider. His homies know they can't bite the hand that feeds them. If YB decides he's done with you, that could mean your whole family is back in poverty tomorrow. That type of leverage makes him untouchable inside his own circle. You can hear it in the way people close to him talk. It's always respect mixed with a little bit of fear, like they know he could switch up on them any second. From the outside looking in, it seems wild. Why would anybody let another man talk to them like that, much less put hands on them? But when that man is the reason you and your kids got a roof over your head.
Hey, y'all had a rich homie. He was doing everything for your homies, your family. He was shooting y'all. Y'all gonna let him put your hands on, y'all gonna let him put your hands on y'all, man. Treat y'all around like a little dog boy. I'm the man that comes.
The answer becomes clear. With YB, it's not just friendship, it's dependency. And that's what makes him so powerful. He built himself into the center of everybody's world. And once you're in his circle, walking away might cost more than staying. The Lil Dump story. If there's one person who shows how deep YoungBoy's influence runs, it's his right-hand man, Lil Dump. Dump ain't just some random background homie. He's been there since the early days, sticking close through the rise, the beefs, and the countless cases that surrounded YB's come up. To outsiders, it looks like he's just another friend in the camp. But the truth is, Dump's bond with YoungBoy shows just how far the loyalty goes, even when that loyalty looks more like submission. At one point, a picture surfaced online showing Lil Dump with his mouth busted and blood running down his lip. Fans immediately began speculating, pointing fingers at YB as the one who caused it. And honestly, when you line that picture up with the stories from academics and other insiders, it makes too much sense. YoungBoy is known to snap on his people, and Dump being one of the closest to him means he's been on the receiving end more than once. But instead of fighting back or even speaking on it, Dump stayed quiet and stood right more than once. But instead of fighting back or even closest to him, means he's been on the receiving end more than once. But instead of fighting back or even speaking on it, Dump stayed quiet and stood right beside YB like nothing ever happened. That silence spoke volumes. It told fans everything they needed to know about how things really work in that camp. YB isn't just a boss. He's like a father figure to some of these dudes. And Dump confirmed that himself in one clip that went viral. He literally called YoungBoy his daddy. It wasn't said as a joke, it wasn't trolling, it was pure respect, the kind that comes from being raised under someone's wing. To Dump, YoungBoy isn't just a rapper making money, he's the man who fed him, sheltered him, and gave him a position when nobody else did. That's the part outsiders often miss. It's easy to clown or call him weak for letting another man put hands on him. But when you grow up in Baton Rouge with nothing, and a guy like YB takes you in, changes your whole life, and puts you on, you look at him differently. Dump sees YoungBoy as the reason he escaped the trenches, so even if YB goes too far, that loyalty never wavers. And YB knows that. That's why he can discipline his homies the same way a parent would a kid, and still keep their respect after. In a way, Dump's story shows the twisted balance in Young Boy's circle. There's love, there's brotherhood, but there's also fear and control. Dump might be willing to call him daddy out of respect, but at the same time, that word perfectly captures the dynamic. Young Boy provides, protects, and punishes, and for somebody like Lil Dump who came up under him, there's no separating the two. Mental health and bipolar behavior. One thing that makes NBA YoungBoy different from most rappers is how openly unstable he is. With other artists, the chaos is usually just an image of a performance for the cameras. But with YoungBoy, it feels real. The mood swings, the random outbursts, the sudden disappearances, it's all part of who he is. And it's something he's admitted himself. YB has spoken about being diagnosed as bipolar, and once you understand that, a lot of his actions start to make sense. Fans have been clocking it for years. One moment YB will be on live playing with his kids, talking about wanting peace and moving past the drama. Then, out of nowhere, he'll flip, screaming, throwing things, and threatening to crash out on whoever crosses him. That same pattern shows up in how he treats the people around him. His homies aren't just his friends, they're his emotional punching bags. When his bipolar episodes hit, they're the ones standing closest, so they catch it first. And the thing is, they can't really fight back. Remember, Young Boy is the breadwinner. He's the one putting food on their tables, keeping their families straight, and covering bills they could.
Are you telling me Young Boy and his homies, they're his punching bag and he's the one that's feeding all of them? He's their daddy?
Never pay without him. If they fight back or try to check him, they risk losing everything. So they sit there and take it. It's a dangerous type of loyalty, not just because it puts them in harm's way, but because it gives YB even more control. He knows nobody's going to leave him, no matter how bad he snaps. And that makes the cycle even harder to break. DJ Academics broke this down better than anyone. After visiting YB at his house, AK said it was like watching a storm. Calm one moment, then total chaos the next. He described YB checking his homies like they were little kids who needed discipline, raising his voice, even putting his hands on them when he felt disrespected. But then, hours later, the same YB would be laughing, cracking jokes, and showing love to the same people he just pressed. That's the bipolar cycle of anger and affection back to back, keeping his crew off balance. The scariest part is how normalized it's become inside his circle. To outsiders, it looks like abuse. But to them, it's just YB being YB. They've learned to adapt to it, like walking on eggshells around someone who could snap at any moment. And when he does, they remind themselves of the good side, the moments when he breaks bread, makes sure their mom's rent is paid, when he throws them a chain or puts them in a video. It's like he tears them down, then builds them back up with gifts and gestures, locking them even deeper into his orbit. It's almost impossible to walk away from that kind of relationship. For people like Lil Dump, YB
They have relationships and Young Boy just hitting them?
Isn't just a boss, he's family. And when family is also your provider, your protector, and the only person you really trust, you accept the flaws, no matter how bad they get. You convince yourself it's love, even when it looks like control. That's why Dump could sit there with a busted lip and still call YB
The provider, the protector? Wow. Give it up, chat.
his daddy. To him, that wasn't weakness, that was loyalty.
Y'all gave it to him. My dad? Yeah, he gave it to him. My dad? Yeah, he gave it to him.
But make no mistake, this isn't normal friendship. It's a bond built on dependency, bipolar mood swings, and the kind of fear most people wouldn't admit out loud. YB's mental health issues don't just affect him, they shape the lives of everyone around him. His crew isn't just riding with a superstar, they're surviving with a storm that could break out at any second. And as long as Young Boy's the one holding the money and the power, the cycle is going to keep spinning. Fear versus respect. When it comes to NBA YoungBoy and his crew, one of the biggest questions is simple. Do they really respect him, or are they just scared of him? On the surface, you'd think it's all love. His homies are always around him, riding in his cars, repping his name, even defending him online. But when you look closer, the loyalty doesn't always look natural. It looks forced, almost like survival. Take Lil Dump, for example. He wasn't just willing to call Young Boy daddy. He also brushed off situations that would have made most men walk away. The lip, the rumors of YB putting hands on him Dump never broke character. He stayed loyal, quiet, and ready to move whenever YB told him to. That ain't just respect, that's submission. And it raises the question, if someone is willing to let you embarrass them and still stand beside you, is it because they love you or because they fear what happens if they don't? Young Boy's crew dynamic feels less like a rap entourage and like a strict household. He's the parent, they're the kids. He sets the rules, and if somebody steps out of line, he's quick to discipline them. Academics confirmed it himself after pulling up to YB's house. He said Young Boy was snapping on his own people, checking them hard, even laying hands on them. And instead of arguing back, they stayed silent. To Ack, it was like watching a father scold his kids, and it left fans asking whether that's real leadership or straight up fear. Now, respect and fear often look the same from the outside. Both will keep people loyal. Both will keep people in line. But the difference comes down to choice. Respect means you choose to follow someone because you believe in them. Fear means you follow because you're scared of the consequences if you don't. And when you see how YB's crew moves, it's hard not to believe fear plays a huge role. Look at how Young Boy treats outsiders compared to insiders. He'll snap on fans in public, lash out at industry figures, and air out beefs online without hesitation. That same energy shows up with his homies. The only difference is his crew can't respond the way outsiders do. A fan might walk away, a rapper might clap back, but his inner circle, they're stuck. Their money, their safety, their families are all tied to Young Boy, which means when he snaps, their only option is to absorb it and move on. But here's where it gets tricky. A lot of these guys genuinely love YB.
All Young Boys homie on.
They grew up with him. They saw him go from nothing to one of the most streamed artists in the world. To them, he's more than just a provider. He's living proof that you can make it out. That's where the respect part comes in. Even after the discipline, the yelling, or the violence, they still see him as someone worth standing by. So it's not pure fear. It's a twisted mix of fear of losing him, respect for what he's done, and dependency on what he provides. That balance is what keeps YB's circle together. He's unpredictable, sometimes ruthless, but also deeply loyal to his people in his own way. He might embarrass you one night, then hand you a chain the next. He might slap you for stepping out of line, then put you in a music video right after. And that cycle blurs the line between respect and fear until you can't tell them apart. The truth is, Young Boy's crew probably follows him for both reasons. They respect his grind, his music, his role in their lives, but they also fear his anger, his mood swings, and the possibility of being cut off. That combination makes him one of the most powerful figures in rap, not just because of his talent, but because of the way he commands absolute loyalty from everyone around him. YB as a cult leader figure. When you look at NBA YoungBoy's circle from the outside, it's easy to see why people call him more than just a rapper. To some, he feels like a cult leader. And it's not just fans saying that the way his homies move around him, the way they absorb his anger, and the way they worship his every word makes the comparison hit hard. Think about it. In a normal rap crew, loyalty is built on friendship, money, or gang ties. But in Young Boy's world, it's deeper. His homies don't just follow him, they revolve around him. He's the provider, the disciplinarian, and the one who sets the rules for everybody else. When he tells them to fall in line, they fall in line. When he snaps, they take it. And when he shows love, they act like it cancels out everything else. That's not regular loyalty, that's devotion. You can see the same energy in his fan base. Young Boy has one of the most extreme fan movements in hip hop. His supporters don't just listen to his music, they defend him online like soldiers in an army. Anytime YB's name comes up in drama, his fans flood the comments ready to fight for him. That's the exact same way his crew move in real life, always ready to take a hit for him, always ready to ride, even when it doesn't make sense. What really pushes the cult leader comparison is how isolated YB has made himself. Ever since his legal troubles, he's been living in Utah, cut off from most of the industry. That isolation didn't just change his life, it changed his circle. It forced his homies to depend on him even more. When you're locked away in the middle of nowhere, the only world you know is the one YB built. And that makes him the center of everything. Their money, their lifestyle, their identity. It's the same playbook cult leaders use. Cut people off from the outside world, make them dependent on you, then control them through a mix of love and fear. For Young Boy, it might not be intentional, but the results are the same. His homies would rather stay in a toxic cycle with him than risk stepping outside of it. And that's why clips like Lil Dump calling him daddy don't just sound like loyalty, they sound like worship. Dump doesn't see YB as just a rapper or a friend. He sees him as the man who gave him life, who raised him up from nothing, who created the world he now lives in. That's devotion on a level that feels spiritual. At the end of the day, calling YB a cult leader might sound extreme, but when you look at how his homies submit to him, how his fans defend him with blind loyalty, and how his entire world runs on his moods and decisions, the label doesn't feel too far off. Youngboy isn't just an artist or a provider, he's the center of a movement where everybody around him follows his rules no matter the cost. The bigger picture. At the end of the day, NBA Youngboy's situation isn't just about a rapper roughing up his homies. It's about power, control, and the way fame can warp relationships. Most artists surround themselves with yes men, but with YB, it goes further. His circle isn't just agreeing with him, they're submitting to him. And the crazy part is, they don't even seem to mind. That's where the danger comes in. Because when one man holds that much control, when everybody around him is scared to push back, it creates a cycle that only gets worse. Every slap, every outburst, every public meltdown doesn't get checked, it gets excused. And with Youngboy, the money and fame only add fuel to the fire his homies know they need him, so they tolerate whatever comes with it. But if history shows us anything, it's that situations like this never last. Eventually, someone snaps. Either YB pushes too far, or one of his own decides enough is enough. Loyalty only stretches so far before it breaks. And when it finally does, that's when you see betrayal, fallouts, or worse. The bigger picture here isn't about one fight or one clip. It's about what happens when loyalty turns into dependency and dependency turns into worship. Youngboy built a world where everyone around him answers to him. But the same world he controls could easily collapse from the inside. So the real question is, how long can Youngboy keep this cult-like loyalty alive before the walls come crashing down?
He just punched me in my eye. He punched me in my eye.
Stop.
Don't you know how that feels?
Youngboy been huge in the rap game since 2016. And we've seen just about every side of YB. So these are NBA Youngboy's most heated moments of all time. Let's start with Youngboy going Finesse 2 times. Out of nowhere, Youngboy posted a picture of Finesse's girlfriend, Sugar, on his Instagram story after finding out that Finesse was in his wife's DMs. That's when Finesse responded to NBA Youngboy saying, "You must forgot I'm from Memphis, homie. We ain't Tinder." Finesse then went live on G, joking about how he didn't care that Youngboy wanted to talk to his girl.
Hey, YB, I don't knock you, bro. I don't knock you, bro. I got some bad on it. I got some serious on it.
But Youngboy wasn't joking about the situation, since he doesn't play about his wife. So he posted a video letting Finesse know that he'll hit him with that chopper.
Hold on. He like Youngboy with the problem. Don't throw it over his mama with that chopper. That too. You talking to that car better be bulletproof.
That's when Finesse put another video up saying mental health is real, since he feels like Youngboy is mental. And this completely pissed Youngboy off even more.
Man, that mental health is real. Throw it off mentally. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna be the one to engage, you know what I'm saying? Engage in what he going through because I know the feeling. You know what I'm saying? He what, like 21, 22? I'm 32.
So, after Youngboy saw this video, he felt some type of way and completely flashed off on Finesse, since Finesse tried changing the topic.
I ain't trying to hear none of that mental health, boy. Hey, you know how that turn out. You wrote my. I ain't tell you nothing. I told